Hello, everybody. Welcome to Youth Connect. I'm Aiden.
Hey, I'm Kevin.
I'm Joshua.
I'm Nibras.
I'm Jeffrey.
And welcome to our Youth Connect. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Another amazing Friday with a whole bunch of news for you to learn about. For those who don't know, Youth Connect is a news, interest, entertainment show that was created during the pandemic for the community, by the community. We are all advocates for ability and are broadcasters, entertainers who want to be in acting, directing, writing, and be hired as speakers. Many of us already have our own podcasts, YouTube channels, websites, and even music. Youth Connect is going to be a show that I know that you are going to love. Now, you met my other co-hosts, Kevin, Joshua, Nibras, and Jeffrey. But first off, we always start off with the first start of Youth Connect, which is gaming news. Now, what game do we have on the list? Well, the first thing on video game news, if you are a reoccurring watcher of the show, is that we have to do the Spotlight Game of the Week. Now, for those who don't know, what the heck is Spotlight Game of the Week? Well, basically, it's a game that is going to be coming out, is already out, or is going to be soon releasing that I think that you should check out. And trust you me, guys, this game might be a little bit on the bloody side, but this game got a solid 10 out of 10 out of most review sites. And trust me, guys, getting a 10 out of 10 is really hard for these kinds of for the gaming industry. Now, what is the game? Well, I'm ready for this game for when it comes out, and today's game of the week is God of War Ragnarok. Embark on an epic and heartful journey as Kratos and Atreus struggle with holding on and letting go from Santa Monica Studio, and it comes the sequel to the critically acclaimed original God of War, which was released in 2018. So it has been the total of 4 years. Well, actually, technically it's 5. But it's been quite a long time since they've been releasing this. We've been getting teasers and all of them, but guess what? Is coming very shortly. Kratos and Atreus must journey to each of the 9 realms in search of answers as Asgardian forces prepare for a prophesied battle that will end the world. Along the way, they will explore stunning mystical landscapes and face fearsome enemies in the form of Norse gods and monsters. The threat of Ragnarok grows even closer. Kratos and Atreus must choose between their own safety and the safety of the realms. This game is huge, guys. Like I said before, IGN gave it a solid 10 out of 10 out of the entire thing. And that is an extremely hard thing to do, guys. Because when you bring a game to a gaming industry, you got hundreds of people reviewing it. And hundreds of people that, being like, here's the wrong parts, here's the good parts. Oh, this isn't as good. But you know what? This game got a solid 10 out of 10. The graphics look beautiful. I do say one thing, however. If you are playing on PS4, do watch out. Because I heard that it turns your PS4 into a plane. Because that's how loud it makes it go. It just goes... So be careful for PS4 users and PS5 users. You got to check this game out. Obviously, guys, you never get a game that has 10 out of 10. If it has 10 out of 10, it must be really good. If you guys want to know the release date, it is going to be releasing on November 9th for PS4 and PS5. And you know what? I'm going to have to see it because I have been really looking forward to all of the games that PlayStation has been releasing recently. And I have more PlayStation news a little bit later. But next up is Kevin, and Kevin has with us some all-important news.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. You are tuned into Youth Connect with me, Kevin Aruja. Now, let's go to the headlines. Ontario education workers set to strike despite new law making it illegal. Ottawa to permanently eliminate student loan interest. Turbo the goat hops on a ghost train and meets up with the royal news ambassador in downtown. and struggling Brooklyn Nets part with Canadian coach Steve Nash. Ontario has passed legislation imposing a 4-year contract on education support workers and making a planned strike by tens of thousands of education workers illegal. Bill 28, or the Keeping Students in Class Act, using the notwithstanding clause to legislate a contract onto workers while making it illegal to take any job action. Mediation fell apart between the education support workers and the Ontario government earlier in the day, with neither party reaching an agreement. Ottawa plans to make permanent its pandemic-era pause on student loan interest in an effort to reduce some of the current financial pressures on young Canadians as the cost of living rises. As part of its fall fiscal update, the federal government outlined plans to permanently eliminate interest on all federal student loans and apprentice loans, including loans currently being repaid. And interesting rates will still apply on a provincial portion of a student's loan. A goat rode the goat this week to meet a horse at Union Station. A wild ride was part of a celebration marking the return of the Royal Agriculture Winter Fair, which is marking its 100th anniversary. This year, events runs from November 4th to 13th at the Toronto's Exhibition Place. Turbo the goat, who served as the fair's royal ambassador in 2015, rode the green and white train in for Scarborough to meet up with Winston, a 1.7-meter tall draft horse who will serve as a Royals 2022 representative. The pair connected on Front Street, greeting one another with a sniff before the Turbo officially passed the reins to 26-year-old Winston, who is a retired Toronto police horse and is quite proud to be back in the city for the day, said Katie Brown, the Royals Director of Marketing and Communications. In sports news, Canadian head coach Steve Nash is out of Brooklyn after a disappointing start and more controversy surrounding Kyrie Irving. The Nets said in a release this Tuesday that the franchise mutually parted ways with a two-time NBA MVP and Basketball Hall of Famer. The move comes a day after they beat Indiana to improve a 2 out of 5. Brooklyn entered the season being considered a little title contender with stars Kevin Durant, Irving, and Ben Simmons on the roster. Nash had no previous head coaching experience when he took over behind the Nets bench before the 2020-21 season. Before joining Brooklyn, he had been a player development consultant with the Golden State Warriors from 2015 to 2020, where he had also worked with Durant. In his 2+ years, Nash noted a 94 out of 67 record, and the Nets made the playoffs in both his full season as head coach. Irving only played 29 games after declining to receive a vaccination against COVID-19, mandated at the time in New York City. And now for the weather, the fog patches of this morning have disappeared, giving us double-digit figures between 18 and 20 degrees during the day, and nights between 2 and 9 degrees. Just letting you know, daylight saving time ends this upcoming Sunday, which is November 6th at 2 a.m. So remember to turn your clocks back and catch an extra hour of sleep. Throughout the month of fall, I have been giving you information on the signs of fall. Another sign is the Canadian geese, which is flying southwards. And how do you know that geese, it's time to fly south for the winter? Well, let's see. To be ready to migrate in the fall, geese start preparing in midsummer. Babies born in the spring are mostly grown up by then. Adult geese grows a new set of plumage after shedding their old feathers, a process called molting. They need flight and body feathers to be in good condition for the long flight ahead and to insulate the bodies from the winter cold. For a few weeks during the process, geese can't fly at all, and they stay out of the water to avoid predators. Geese have a clock in the brain that measures how much sunlight there is each day. The days grow shorter and shorter during the late summer and early fall. And that's how geese know it's time to get ready for the journey south. Families join together in larger flocks. Geese gorge on grains and grasses to fatten up in the preparation for their journey. Some interesting facts about geese. And did you know The female is called a goose and the male is a gander. The young are known as goslings. They form flocks to fly south for the winter. The Canada goose has webbed feet for swimming, and a group of geese has many collective nouns, including a flock, chevron, and a string of geese. So now that we come to the end of my segment, tune in for next week for another segment of news, weather, and interesting facts. And now I'm passing over to Aiden's gaming news.
All right, Kevin. I'm just gonna say one thing. It was a little bit hard hearing you, but I did hear that talked about some daylight savings. Now, I always love daylight savings because you know why? I get an extra hour of sleep. And everyone knows that sleep is very important, and it's so nice to lay in bed, especially myself. And thank you so much, Kevin, for the news. Now, I'm going to ask everyone else, obviously, because you have to make sure that everyone talks about it. What about you, Nibras? What about you, Joshua? What about you, Jeffrey? What did you think of Kevin's news?
I can go first. Thank you, Kevin, for that daylight savings. I did not even know daylight savings is coming in November. Thank you for letting us know this information. Now I'll get an extra hour of sleep, like Aiden said. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I found the geese one to be very interesting. Interesting how you talked about that. That was very interesting. I didn't know about that.
I didn't know that the names of a male and female goose is goose and gander.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had two separate names. I thought they were just all geese and gooses.
Goose. I thought they meant the same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, Kevin. But now it's time to move on to the second gaming news. And if you guys remember, a few weeks ago, I talked about the newly coming out PSVR 2. Now, this thing is huge because the PSVR 2 was known to have eye tracking in the headset. What did they call it? Response in the controllers as you would be pulling a bow. The back of the controller become more tough to hold. So it had some reaction thing. It has eye tracking, but we have recently gotten a ton of info on Sony's new VR2 headset for the PS5, including its launch lineup, release date, and price point. Now, I'm just going to say that last bit will no doubt be the most controversial and has been for a lot of people. Sony revealed on Wednesday that the PSVR 2 will cost $550, which is even more than the PS5 is required to run it. So the scary thing is at that 550 point itself, it's higher, $50 more than the original PSVR bundle for the PS4. But the PSVR 2 doesn't even come with any games. So if the Horizon Call of the Mountain Pack-In bundle, which includes the VR spinoff of Guerrilla's Games' Horizon Zero Dawn series, will cost $600. So what does the base price get you? The $550 package only includes the PSVR 2 headset, the Sense controllers, the stereo headphones, but the charging dock comes separate for another $50. And if you are a VR enthusiast, that means the entire package, PS5 included, will run you over $1,000. And that is a big ask despite the impressive specs. But on the more positive side, let's talk about the games that are going to be on the PSVR 2. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be able to buy it. That's $550. That's $50 more than the original one. As much as I love that eye tracking headset, I don't think I could do it. But anyway, Sony revealed much more about the PSVR 2's launch lineup, in addition to the Horizon VR game. And there will also be the following 11 ports and releases during the first year. We got the Dark Pictures Switchback VR, the Light Brigade, Crossfire Sierra Squad, Cities VR, Cosmonious High, Hello Neighbor Search and Rescue, Jurassic Park Aftermath Collection, Pistol Whip VR, Zenith, The Last City, After the Fall, and Tentacular. Now, if you guys want to know more information, you can read about how each will make unique use of the PSVR VR2's tech on the PlayStation blog. So do note, guys, that every single game is going to use the PSVR2 to its full capabilities and will be unique for each and every game. Obviously, there might be some like colliding things that are very similar, but you know what? Despite the overprice, the game choice sounds interesting. And you know what? I can always watch it online because I trust you me, a streamer is probably going to be using it. But darn, I really wish that I could use that hand tracking headset. Trat. Anyways, though, next up is Joshua. And Joshua has with us some good story news and, of course, your very favorite animal news.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Uconnect now for a good news story. Honda designed tiny electric car to bring joy to hospitalized kids as they drive themselves to treatments. At Children's Health of Orange County, California, you need to be on the lookout for kids getting lab tests because they'll be tooting the horn at the wheel of their new electric Honda, which is bringing love and comfort to sick children. This unique car is called the Shogo and was specifically designed to navigate hospital hallways and transport all the IV drips and monitoring machines a child might require. It allows them to drive themselves down the hallways to their treatments, turning what could be a stressful journey into a fun joyride. Randall Smock, a senior exterior designer of vehicles for the company, played a significant role in the design of Shogo and called it a labor of love. For someone who spent time in the hospital as a young child, I really wanted the number one objective of Shogo to be easing the hardship of a hospital stay by providing kids a lasting positive memory about that experience. Designed by Honda engineers to ease the stress and anxiety of hospitalized children, the car brought tears to adults as they hear how it all started. One mom said, I heard Charlie laugh harder than the whole time he's been in the hospital, so hearing that laugh again makes me want to cry. Shogo is based on a Japanese word meaning soaring into the future. It was a beautiful it was built to focus on young patients ages 4 through 9 who can easily drive with its power controls and manage the go and stop mechanism on the steering wheel. It it was it has an adjustable speed of 1 to 5 miles per hour which is controlled by handler such as a nurse or caregiver. It includes a toy bucket in the front of the vehicle for items the child would like to bring along with them. It also includes cup holders, a center horn with different sound options, and a license plate slot to display the name of each rider. All the fun was captured in a terrific video that won a silver statue at the 2022 Clio Health Awards because it demonstrates the amazing impact that play and laughter can make in the life of sick kids. Now for another good news story. Woman discovers exact replica of grandfather's World War II plane and recreates 1942 photo before getting a special ride. An Australian woman got the ride of a lifetime after discovering a replica of her grandfather's World War II plane and traveling 9,000 miles to recreate her favorite photo. Courtney Don't was never able to meet her Australian grandfather who fought alongside the British and Allied forces flying in a Hawker Hurricane plane. The plane was called Pegs after his beloved wife Peggy. It was shot down during a raid on German occupied territory in 1942. Her grandfather, Charles Bryce Watson, survived but passed away 20 years before Courtney was born. His stories live on through Courtney's family, and a photo of him alongside the plane has a special place in their home. Down under the Geelong, Victoria, Australia, they heard about a Hawker Hurricane being restored in Berkshire, England, and got in touch in an effort to learn more about the plane. They were astonished when they discovered that the restorers had used Peg's tag on the paintwork, along with the kangaroo logo from her grandfather's original model. Courtney flew to UK this month to see the plane, which is used for commemorative flights in the UK, and cleverly recreated her photo. The restoration company, Hurricane Heritage, told her the plane was identical model to her grandfather's, which featured an image of a boxing kangaroo represent his Australian background. She only expected to be able to view the plane, take her photos, but when she got there to her Mason, her they offered to take her up in the new Banks plane. She said it was the most amazing experience. She got to not only see but to fly in her grandfather's RAF plane. How many people get the chance to do that? Now turning to animal interest news. A goat rode the goat to meet a horse at Union Station. The wild ride was part of a celebration marking the return of the Royal Agricultural Winter Fair, which is marking its 100th anniversary. On November 1st, Turbo the goat, who served as the fair's royal ambassador in 2015, rode the green and white train in from Scarborough to meet up with Winston, a 1.7-meter tall draft horse who was served as the Royals' 2022 representative. The pair connected on Front Street, greeting one another with a sniff before Turbo officially passed the reins to 26-year-old Winston, who is a retired Toronto police horse. The Royal Agricultural Winter Fair is the largest combined indoor agricultural fair and an international equestrian competition in the world. It will be bigger than ever this time around. Several special events and experiences are planned. Notably, the return of the Royal Dog Show. It's a celebration a century in the making. So we are celebrating all the very best in Canadian agricultural, equine, sport, and local food. This is Joshua Shaw reporting for Youth Connect. That's it for me. Now I'll send it back to you, Aiden.
All right, Joshua, I gotta say, for the first news, I enjoyed it, but I really loved your second and third news. It is so nice to find a plane that was apparently shot down and find an exact replica that is somewhat that's in your family. And it's such an old plane, and it's so awesome, I bet, to have seen it in person instead of in the photo. And then I love how she recreated the photo. Recreating photos are always nice. Always nice. And secondly, Turbo the goat. If I saw a goat on the goat train, is it a goat train or does it become a goat train? These are the questions that boggle inside of my mind every day. But I'm going to open the floor and ask everyone else, you, Nibras, you, Kevin, and you, Jeffrey, what did you think of Joshua's news?
I found the first news to be interesting because that toy car looked so much fun. Reminded me of something I used to have growing up, very similar to that. So that was my favorite.
Definitely would bring some joy. Also, I heard you were getting to something, Nibras.
Yeah, so the first story, I loved it. It's just amazing doing something for kids. And the cup holder, you have your names. It's just amazing. You're driving and their monitors. It's just amazing. I loved your first story, good news story. It was amazing. Good job, Josh.
Yeah, really good.
My favorite pick would have to be, giving a toy car version of a Hyundai. It's fun. It's fun for kids to ride the car.
Definitely. You know what? Obviously, I would never be able to fit in one of those cars, but you know what? It's always nice to bring some happiness.
Would love to.
See, the big version of the tiny cars are just regular cars.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Joshua. And now it's time to move on my final gaming news. And what is the final gaming news? It's board game of the week, similar to video game of the week, but instead of going digitally, we're gonna go on to boardily. Is that a word? I'm making it up. Boardily is now a word. But what is today's board game of the week? Well, today's board game of the week is Tiny Epic Crimes. So Tiny Epic Crimes is a fast-paced crime-fighting deduction game for 1 to 4 players that offers multiple ways to play, and the game can be enjoyed competitively, cooperatively, or solo. Now, the story, players take on the role of detectives, and depending on the game mode, will be either working together or separately to crack the murder case. Time matters, and the first 48 hours after any crime are the most critical. Players race around Echo Ridge City collecting evidence such as the murder weapon, forensics, or the getaway vehicle. The secret evidence is sifted through using the novel Tiny Epic Decoder system, which keeps all of the murderer's other evidence hidden. But this knowledge eliminates suspects and helps identify the true killer. But crime doesn't stop for one investigation. Players must answer the call of duty, juggling their time as other criminal activities arise across the city. Resolving these events allows players to gain useful alibis and powerful force cards, but knowing full well that their actions will take them hours closer to a reckoning. In their final hour, players will stake their careers on a final guess, who they think the murderer really is, hoping that their wits and detective skills are enough to bring the correct suspect to justice. Can you hold the cities of crime together long enough to crack the case, or will it go cold and your time on the force run out? I think this game looks absolutely amazing. I love a board game that is a deduction game. I always think it's very weird how a board game tries to incorporate video game elements into it, and sometimes it's executed really well, which is this game right here. I think that you should check out Tiny Epic Crimes if you haven't seen it. I mean, obviously you don't need to, but I always suggest it as something that you might have as a fun board game with the family. Now, if you do check out this board game, make sure to comment down below and tell me how you thought about this game. Anyways, though, we got to keep moving on. The train must keep rolling. Next up, we have Nibras with some entertainment and podcast news.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys today? My name is Nibras Khan, and I'm here for the entertainment news. Let's get straight to our top story. And our top story is about: if creativity is the fuel of a Hollywood franchise success, then ego maybe its booster rockets. I'll repeat that. If creativity is the fuel of a Hollywood franchise success, then ego maybe its booster rockets. That's one of the takeaways from a new interview in Variety with Joe and Anthony Russo, in which the directors recap their nearly decade-long run at Marvel and discuss their plans for the future. The siblings are now working on their post-Marvel careers as directors on productions for Netflix, the recently released The Gray Man and the upcoming The Electric State. Under the AGBO production banner, the duo started their Marvel journey by directing 2014's Captain America, The Winter Soldier, and ended it by delivering the most lucrative opening weekend of all time via Avengers Endgame in 2019 at $1.2 billion. It will never happen again, Joe Russo said of the billion-dollar opening. That was an apex of that era of theatrical filmmaking. Never may sound like a bold claim, but in the era of streaming movies and the increasing encroachment into territory carved out by traditional movie theaters, operating such blockbuster revenue will be a challenge. The Russo brothers have said they don't plan to return to the Marvel Cinematic Universe MCU anytime soon, but the Marvel machine continues to churn out the box office hits like 2022's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and Thor: Love and Thunder. And next week, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever would become one of the highest earning releases of the year. MCU is in a bit of a transitional phase now that the Avengers storyline has come to a close. This blip in Marvel's cohesive narrative could be just what Warner Bros. Discovery and its slate of DC film needs. Generally, films based on DC comic characters haven't had the same soaring success of Marvel. In the realm of the DC Extended Universe, DCEU, which doesn't include Christopher Nolan's Batman Dark Knight films, the most financially fruitful film has been its 2018's Aquaman, which earned $1.1 billion overall. So far, the DCEU biggest opening weekend has been Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice overall so far, which earned 420 million globally, about 520 million in 2020 in 2020 dollars during its opening weekend. Oh, this is kind of good news and bad news. What they're saying is that big hits like Endgame or like all those Avengers movies and those decades have gone because now, but it could be that like Black Panther could have a big earning like 1 billion or close to that. There, a lot of people expecting that because it is gonna be a great film. Also, Avatar, after so many years it's returning, and baby, that could be a big deal. There are a lot of films that are coming, but big hits like Endgame, I don't think so that can happen again. Who knows? But I'm so excited for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I'm gonna book the tickets. If you haven't, you should, because they're gonna run out. I'm actually gonna do that. And that's all for my first story. If you liked it, comment down below. So now on to my second story. Now before I go to my second story, I'd like to give you guys the fact of the day. And today's fact of the day is, drum roll please. Did you guys know this? As you all know, this is a kurta, right? Did you guys know this cloth or kurta? It's more than 12 years old. Yes, that's true. So what happened is my grandmother in 2009 2010 bought the cloth for it. Basically in Pakistan there's something called ready made, which this is ready made. This is already, you buy shirts, you buy from the store and go home. But there's also something called cloth buy, where you get the cloth and you sew it, and then you get the piece, right? So she got the cloth, and then after a few years, I didn't take it back home, back to my home, in which was Dubai. But then after a few years, I got it and I wore it, and now it's very small. But the fact is, this cloth is more than, or this piece is more than 12 years old, and I love it. I'm not gonna throw it out because this is very old and this means a lot to me, this cloth. So anyway, I hope you like this fact. I hope you did. If you did, comment down below. Now to my second story. So my second story is about a podcast. So the podcast name is Creative Pep Talk Podcast. Host Andy J. Miller asks his questions of his listeners. Do you want to know how to make a good living? Making great art? If the answer is yes, then check out this podcast featuring weekly episodes to inspire your creative career. You'll hear wisdom ranging from how to fight creative block and social media tips to designing your career and how to stop underselling yourself. Whenever creative field, whatever your creative field is you're pursuing, Andy is here to help you find the creative, develop it, and connect it to the audience that needs it most. So I love this podcast. First of all, this is basically a creative art podcast. What it does. So Andy, he talks how to make yourself more creative, how to do that, how to market your products, or how to market your art. It's just so good. It's just amazing podcast. I love it because I just time to time I like to listen to it, because sometimes like I said, creative block comes and you want to destroy that block because you want to do a lot of creative stuff. So I love to listen to it. It's just general knowledge about art and about how to make yourself more creative. An example for this is I took a class in 2019 in college about the course's name was creativity in its finest. So the teacher talked about creative stuff, what are the aspects. So it's mostly similar to that. I love this podcast. Another time, the podcast name is Creative Pep Talk Podcast. If you like it, go check it out. And that's all from me. I hope you like this section. That's all from me. My name is Nibras Khan. I'll see you all next week. Thank you. Take care. Back to Eden. Bye, guys. Thank you.
All right, guys, time is ticking, but I'm just going to say we are going to get to Jeffrey, but as Jeffrey sets up, we will talk about Nebraska's news. Now, I did not know this, and this is why I always tune in, and I always have to sit in for Nebraska's entertainment news. I did not know that there was going to be a Black Panther movie. That sounds quite interesting, and I did not even know that they were making one. And also, the podcast suggestion that you gave, Nebraska, sounds really intriguing. And you know what? It is a part of the creative arts. And I always love a podcast that tackles creative things. I'm going to bring it to everyone else. So what about you, Joshua, and you, Kevin? What did you guys think of Nebraska's news?
It's really good. I mean, I can't wait to see the Black Panther, and I can't wait to see it. It's going to be the best.
So, Nebraska, can you say again what the podcast name was? Because I didn't hear you quite.
Okay, so I'll repeat it again 2 times. Creative Pep Talk Podcast. So Creative Pep PP Talk Podcast.
Oh, Creative Pep Talk Podcast.
Yeah, it's a difficult name. Yeah, but I hope you check it out.
All right. Now I'm going to ask, hey, Jeff, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. So, guys, we have to move on to our final piece of our Youth Connect. I always say, in my personal opinion, the cherry on top. We have to do live music with our live musician, Jeffrey.
Hi, everybody. This is Jeffrey, your live musician. I'm going to be playing, and nice to see you all out there. I'm going to play an original song that was created by Aiden and myself, and it's called War. Now, it's a very slow song, but very beautiful. And since it is almost Remembrance Day, I want to dedicate this song to all the soldiers out there. So here we are. Fighting, killing, pain and war. You got to be kidding me. How old are you? Didn't you grow? Can't you see it's wrong? Just because you don't belong. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. Is your heart is too small? Your compassion all time low. Do you have no sympathy? I wanna know. We're all one family, brothers, sisters, mothers and fathers. They teach us to learn, to be kind, to forgive, to value life above all else, to be true. So let go of all lies. Wipe the tears from our victims' eyes. Open yourself to be wise. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. Fighting, killing, pain and war. You got to be kidding me. How old are you? Didn't you grow? Can't you see it's wrong? Just because you don't belong. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. So let me ask you, is your heart is too small? Your compassion all time low? Do you have no sympathy? I wanna know. We're all one family, brothers, sisters, mothers, and fathers. They teach us to learn, to be kind, to forgive, to value life above all else, to be true. So let go of all your lies. Wipe the tears from our victims' eyes. Open yourself to be wise. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. We're all one family, brothers, sisters, mothers, and fathers. They teach us to be kind, to forget, to value life above all else, to be true. So let go of all your lies. Wipe the tears from a victim's eyes. Open yourself to be wise. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. Let's get together, stop wars. I wanna know. I know. I wanna know. I wanna know. I wanna know. Thank you, everybody. This is Jeffrey, your live musician. I see you all next week, and it's back to you, Aiden. Bye, everyone.
Now, guys, I absolutely love the song War because it basically is a song about starting world peace. No more fighting, no more arguing, no more getting into mayhem and causing chaos, but to come together as a community to become a loving group, bring in more love into the world. And I just love that song. It's always beautiful to hear Jeffrey's amazing instrumental plus the lyrics. It's just a match made in heaven. And I really hope that everyone that's here right now really enjoyed the song War. I hope that you feel maybe it's not the best to get angry at people, but instead give them a nice hug because maybe that's all they need. But in the end of it all, we have reached the end of Youth Connect. If you like Youth Connect, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And don't forget to click the notification bell.
Other than that, guys, stay peaceful, love others, and we will see you all next time. Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Bye.